How are ya? How are ya? How are ya? Welcome to Mari's Golden Hour. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. And there could be one person listening. There could be two people listening. There could be 0 people listening. And you know what? That's fine. I'm just going to keep on doing this and just hope that I am not easily offending somebody and maybe offering people some laughs here and there. So, there was something that I remember talking about last week that I was pushing off to this week, which was there was this Prince tribute concert that was going on. I believe it was, hold on, a little ticket on the fruit. Sorry about that. You would think I would learn after all of this time to make sure that I have some sort of libation before I started recording. So my apologies. Whoa. My apologies if the recording sounds a little bit wonky, but hey, that's how it goes. So this Prince tribute band that I saw, I believe it was August of 2019, something like that. Yeah, August sounds about right. Maybe it was even July. But I believe the band itself is called The Purple Experience, and the lead singer's name is Marshall something, or something Marshall. I know Marshall's in the name. I could look it up, but I'm being extremely lazy, and I don't want to do that right now. And I know there's other things I want to talk about, and I don't want to run over the time too much. But, so, yeah, the Purple Experience, and I kicked myself then, and I kind of still do now, that I didn't get there for the beginning of the concert, and I think part of it was that I didn't want to have to deal with the porta potties and all that, so I'm like, let me go late, and that way I don't have to worry about going to the bathroom. And I missed the opening act, which, reading the description and the bio of the person, I believe it was a female artist, she sounded really cool and had really good music, so, I just remember being really excited about going. And by the time I got there, I missed the opening act, and I missed the first act of this group. And I guess the first act was all about him doing, like, Prince's earlier music, and then the second act was all the later stuff. And I was just so mad, because I went, and I caught I think maybe the tail end of the first act of music, and then was there for the second, and it was just fire. It honestly, the guy really looks like Prince. He sounds like Prince. He plays like Prince. There's a lot of Prince's musicians that are playing in this band, and I believe the dude, I don't know if he was born and raised in Minneapolis or if he relocated there, and I am almost certain that Prince was on his radar even before his passing, because the guy is a very talented musician, and I've seen a couple of his music videos, and I was like, oh, alright, even like his own music is actually pretty good. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they've done the outdoor concerts since lockdown. But I was very fortunate to be able to see this concert. It was held at a park that's not too far away from where I live, and they do, the outdoor summer programming thing that, I don't know, I feel like everybody's doing it at this point. Maybe I could be wrong, but yeah, they'll do those inflatable movie screen things and show movies and have a lot of family-friendly, kid-friendly activities that go on. They could do it all year, but it's pretty much late spring going into summer. I don't know if they've done any outdoor thing. I doubt they've done any outdoor things since lockdown. I can't imagine that they would. I do see people jogging around and whatnot, but As far as activities, no. But anyway, it was just a very, very, very fun concert, and I got my picture taken with him. And did I purchase a CD? I think I might have downloaded something. I felt like I made some sort of a purchase, but I don't think it was for anything big. Or I looked into getting his CD. I can't remember now. But yeah, so that was that. What else happened? Watched a bunch of videos, and one of them. Well, all right, sorry, I'm thinking faster than I'm speaking. I was in a very vulnerable and very thirsty state, and I watched an equally thirsty movie, and it was just like, oof. But I was in the mood for it at the time. It was a movie that was on my radar for a while, but I'm like, can't be bothered with it. And then finally, it's like, all right, I'll check you out. It's a movie with Sebastian Stan and some other people. I know, it's very vague. But it was like, ooh, this is steamy. And all I could think of, well, it wasn't the only thing I could think of, but I was just thinking of the difficulty in filming love scenes. And whether you are doing some heavy petting or getting down and dirty, it can't be comfortable to do at all, especially having a full crew behind the camera and people that all they're thinking about is just either going home or getting to lunch. I don't know, but yeah, it was something. One of the other things that I remember watching, it was a clip from Rogan's show, and I believe it was Scott Eastwood that was on it, and he is kind of a handsome guy, and definitely looks just like his father, and there's just something about him that it's like, oh yeah, well, I can see why people want to be around you, and why they hire you, and you are good at what you do, and of course you're good at what you do because of who your dad is, and even if his dad wasn't encouraging in any way, just having that proximity to greatness, having access to greatness, having access to not just the greatness of his dad and his work ethic, but the industry and all of that. So, and no, I am not hating on him or any of that stuff. I don't begrudge anybody of their money, their fame, any of that stuff. I'm just stating that he had access to it, and he's quite handsome. And even from that particular podcast, there's a couple of Clint Eastwood movies that haven't heard of. No, I wasn't familiar with the titles, and I want to check them out. I think one of them was not the Ballad of something with a woman's name, like Jodie something or other. And you know what? I can't remember it. I should look those up. Let me look those up. Okay, I got it. High Plains Drifter and Outlaw Jody Wales. Those are the two movies that I need to check out, and I haven't yet. But I will. Earlier this week, I think it was last Monday, and I'm recording this on a Sunday. It is Sunday, June 13th, 2021, by the way. So last Monday, which I believe was June 7th, that is when I happened to randomly find out that Yola is planning to play Sister Rosetta Tharpe in some Elvis movie. And I am here for it. I'm so jazzed about it. And I was also very surprised I didn't hear about that sooner. And if you are not aware of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, get into it. Plenty of clips on YouTube. Well, I don't want to say plenty, but there are clips available of Sister Rosetta Tharpe available on YouTube. She's phenomenal. And just her life story, her life story alone, I felt could be something. And that she will only get like a little snippet because this is going to be like an Elvis movie. That's the part that's like, she needs her own movie or a web series, not a web series, like a mini series or something. But Yola, herself is also quite a force to be reckoned with. She's very talented, and if you haven't heard her rendition of Yellow Brick Road, oof, it is powerful. It is something. But Yola has some pipes, and she can play guitar, and she's just very soulful, and, well, Sister Rosetta Tharpe. That is a pairing and casting that I definitely approve of. And I just, man, I have high hopes for the industry if they are doing casting like this, as opposed to, well, let's get somebody that doesn't look like her and can't even play music, and, oh, but they're a good look and they're pretty. And it's like, no, that's not what it's about. Get somebody that actually embodies the spirit of that person that you want to portray. And there should be some sort of a likeness. Just because they're not white or pale complected, that doesn't mean that you need to. Anyway, I'm gonna get off that. I'm happy that Yola is set to play Sister Rosetta Tharpe in this upcoming movie. So check both of them out. What else happened? Oh, last Monday, also found out, I guess it was June 7th of 1993, which that is the anniversary of the Rock Hall groundbreaking. Like, they broke ground for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. So I was like, oh, alright. Didn't realize it, and now I know. Oh, so I was looking at a baking show, and I think it might have been on Taste Made. So I don't know why I watched it. Maybe it was like the particular shot that happened to be up on the screen at the time. I was just kind of like surfing channels. And so this host was making cinnamon rolls. And so, she was just talking and doing all the steps and sprinkling things and rolling stuff. And so towards the end, she put them in the oven, and then through the magic of television, they're magically ready and available, and they're all plump and just beautiful. And so at the end, she was like doing that, like she made like a show of like rolling it and showing all the steam coming off of it, and how like drippy the sugar is and all of that goodness. And so she was like unrolling it and showing off all the insides, and then she bit into it. And I don't know if she like bit into it like once or a couple times, but she was like she bit into it and like exclaimed at, "Oh, you have to make these." And then she was like laughing to herself, and she said, "Oh, I see that after everything I make." And I was like, wow, really? It really just made me roll my eyes. And maybe I'm not conveying that experience to the best of my capabilities, but that is what happened, and it kind of tickled me. So, I was trying to send a text to our friend, and I wanted to attach a gift to it just to like prove a point, or like just really, give the joke that I had a punch or whatever it was. And so I was looking around, and I discovered that there really weren't many or any black people in water. And no, I wasn't doing anything to make fun of black people in water. Basically the gift that I needed, I plugged in some words, which I don't know if it was, I'm trying to remember exactly what I typed in, but in all my looking, like I said, I just didn't see any black people in water, be it like pool, a lake, ocean, a creek, nothing, like absolutely nothing. And for a minute I thought maybe I typed in the wrong words, and I put in like happy people swimming in water. there was like no black people at all that popped up. And what did pop up, it was like animals, cartoons, plenty of white people, Asians, maybe even Hispanics, but zero black people. And definitely like no black people looking happy in water. But what I didn't even find any black people looking mad in water. Like, there was just nothing. There were no gifs of black people enjoying themselves, splashing around in water of any kind. Not even a shower. There was nothing. So, but I did put in swimming. I didn't put in, like, people taking a shower. I specifically wanted, like, splashy, like, in the water. Yeah. So, if you happen to know of any, please send them my way. Let me know. Or let me know the right words to type in. I even think I put in, like, after I put in, like, happy people swimming, nothing came up. And I think maybe I put in, like, black people, happy, water. And, again, nothing. So, I saw, well, a couple of things. One, I went to an FYC, well, a couple of FYC events. One of them was for 1015, which was, it's a really good show. Definitely worth watching. And it took forever. And I'd been sitting on that title for like maybe a week and a half. And I didn't know it until the person that invited me happened to say, oh yeah, so we're going to see the penis, blah, blah, blah. I was like, wait, whoa, what penis? It's like, oh, I get it. So it took a minute. But the person who was taking photographs, they had seen that title. They'd been sitting with it for like weeks, maybe a month, maybe a little bit more than that. And when my friend brought up the penis fact to them, they were like, oh, what? I mean, they just lost it because they didn't even realize. So, but, let's see. Oh, so the other one that I saw was Genius Aretha, which I think is brought on by National Geographic. Wow. So I may even have to save this one to talk about next week because there was just so much behind it on so many levels. For me, personally. Basically, it made me cry. And part of it reminded me of my mom's Diana Ross record. Actually, I think she had a couple of Diana Ross records, but I remember that song and that record was played often. It was You're All I Need to Get By, which I know, obviously Aretha, she covered it, but that's a Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye sang that, I think. Anyway, yeah, Tammy and Marvin. I believe they're the first ones to actually sing that. And then it got covered by Aretha and then by Diana Ross. And I just, it made me cry just to hear that song because I remember it being played often as a kid. And, yeah. And so it was a very, very, very good first episode. And they even had, tons of pink Cadillacs there. They had a really cool display that had like 4 different costumes, which I believe represent different periods of like turning points in her life, or at least like the turning points in her life within this series. The costumes, that is. I don't know if the costumes were the exact costumes that she wore for some of the turning points, and they could have been, for all I know. I'd have to go back and look at photo archives. For her television appearances, I'm sure they could easily recreate that, but, yeah, but it hit on many levels because Aretha, there was a song that was done, this was when I worked with Cirque du Soleil, and there was this event called Techno Show that they would do, and, anyway, that's a story for another time, but it is one of Aretha's songs was what was used for this performance that I did with one of the other Cirque du Soleil performers, and it was, I believe, the best performance of the night. So, it would always have a very special place in my heart. Huge fondness. And then years later, another Aretha Franklin song I did as a lip sync for a dance show. So, but the Cirque du Soleil performance will always be my first love, and there's such a huge story behind all of that. And again, stories for another time. What else did I come across? Oh, well, something I just realized that, when sending text out, and I can't be the only one, but, sometimes I'll use my mic just because it's easier than just typing, or it's, maybe you're busy doing something, or doing something you shouldn't be doing. It's like, let me just use the mic really quick so I can send this out. And the mic will pick up, either nonsense, or it mishears how you're pronouncing the words, and that's whether you enunciate or not. Maybe the wind affected how things are being heard, but anyway, I was responding to a friend, and I was using the mic, and it happened to think that I was Jamaican, because I said something like, well, that could be anything possible that you want it to be, and instead it actually typed out anything, like without the H. So instead of anything, it came out anything, and which was very Jamaican. And it's like, yeah, you're lazy, man. Anything you want? Anything? Oh, you're only lazy because you only have 3 jobs. Only 3, not 10. Anyway, that was a very bad Jamaican accent. I can do better. I know I can. But yeah, I think by now everybody kind of gets the gist, and they just kind of roll with it, because I think everybody gets that auto insert or the audible thing. It's messed up so many texts for a lot of people. So anyway, that's just something that just popped in my head. So on with Mari's Music Corner. It's Mari's Music Corner, and she's recommending songs to hear for later or today. Yeah, I know, I gotta work on that music intro. Songs on my radar this week. Harvest Moon, Neil Young. I know I've mentioned it before, but yeah, I just heard it again recently this week. And the very first time that I heard it, I was I was hanging out at this place, and I called it the compound, or the hippie hangout, because this particular house, it was one of those, I'm sure it's probably torn down by now, but it's kind of a huge house that they sectioned off and made several apartments. And so my friend, who was on the first floor, lived in this I think it was a 2-bedroom. Can't remember if it had 2 baths. I remember it was a 1-bedroom. Now I can't remember, but she had very sizable space, and she was in the back half of this, so she kind of had more of backyard access, porch access, very easily accessible. And the front part of the house was for a guy that I would because I would hang out over his house, and then I realized that the guy that lived in the front section I worked with at the Cleve Playhouse, but he worked in a different department. And it was just so random. It's wait a minute, you live here with all these guys, and these are my friends, but it's sort of my worlds were colliding a little bit. And so he lived, Mike was in the front section, which I think that was another 1-bedroom, but I think his was smaller than Gretchen's. And then you go upstairs, and I feel the upstairs section, there was a 3-bedroom with 3 guys, and then another 1-bedroom, or for this attic space, or that top section of the house. And that was for, I can't remember if it was a female that lived there, and it was somebody that we didn't really see too much, or she didn't come and hang out. But there was I just called it a compound because there were just so many people that lived in this house that was all sectioned off, and they had private entrances for wherever they were going. And there was a hammock in the back, and we would just do little projects. And I remember I'm trying to remember the tall, skinny guy's name. Darn it, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, I'd have to bug some other people in order to find out his name. But I remember he would always want to instigate things. And whether that was like drinking or doing a rock garden, or, you know, doing very saucy truth or dare, or whenever we would do drinking games, just turning it into like, all right, I dare you to do this, and everybody just like getting into it. So anyway, I can't remember if it was one of the nights when I was house sitting for my friend, or if I was just like hanging out, but everybody was like hanging out in the backyard, and, you know, had like a little fire pit going, and just drinking and just chilling. And a couple of the guys brought out guitars, and Mike, who lived in the front, he's also in a band. That's just one of his side things. He's a musician, and it's not like it's a huge band or anything, but still, it was like one of his projects on the side. And he just played this acoustic version of Harvest Moon and sang it so beautifully. I was just like, oh my gosh, did you write that? Because that was like my very first time hearing it. And it was just so beautiful. And we were all just like sitting around the fire and, you know, just outside. And we weren't so close to the city that, because it was just like, I think on the west side of Cleveland. And you could still kind of see the stars-ish where we were. And it was just so fucking cool. I cannot describe how much fun I would have at that place all the time. But yeah, that was my first time hearing Harvest Moon by Neil Young. And anytime I hear it, that's what I think about. One Shot by Navy. This has, I know I've mentioned this song before. I had to have. Denise Williams, there's a Denise Williams sample. Not to be confused with Vanessa Williams. No, this is Denise Williams. And it's Free to Be Me is the sample that's used. And this just has a very cool groove to it. And it's that nice funky vibe. You can feel like, ooh, this will be nice, like a nice little ride into the summer groove, you know? Party at Ground Zero, Fishbone. This song has such a great intro, and I don't think I've heard it at all until recently. And I've always just heard like the main part of the regular song. I didn't realize it even had an intro. It's like, ooh, that's a nice sounding intro. And they're just, you know, they're a fun LA-based band, and they should have gotten more props, and they should have been bigger. But who knows what would have happened with them when they went mainstream. But still, it's like, you know, and I suspect that they didn't go bigger or mainstream just because it was a black band. So, but very fun music. Very, very fun. And, well, not just a black band, but a black band in ska, you know, playing like the punk ska sound. But still, you would think that would have been cool and people would have latched onto it. And I know people did, but they just should have been bigger than what they were. Kids by MGMT. It just, you know, I never heard it before, and it's been played ad nauseum. But, again, just stuff I heard this week. And that musical break, that's the part that's just, like, on a good system, just sounds really good. I was just into it this week. The Walls Are Way Too Thin, Holly Humberstone. I don't know why that song was on my radar this week, but it was. I don't know if maybe it's the lyrics. I can't remember now. Shut Up and Let Me Go, the Ting Tings. Just always liked it. There's another Ting Ting song. That's Not My Name. Yeah, it's just a fun group and very punk. But sort of like that new punk. More of like a, you know, punk for the new age. Put it right on up there with like, well, I can't equate them, but just the feeling I get and my enjoyment is up there with the Yeah Yeah Yeahs and Karen L. So, let's see. Call Me by Sky. That is that funk, 80s, soul, R&B, just, you know what it is. Call Me by Sky. Satisfaction guarantee. If Only, Dave Matthews Band. I actually really like this song. Like, I'm not like a Dave Matthews Band kind of person. I find that whole thing annoying, and I understand why it was popular, but, it's like, not my jam. But based off of this song, I can see why people like the band. It was based off of that song, but the others, not me. Yes and No, and the No is spelled K-N-O-W, and it's by S-Y-M-L. I don't know if that's Simmel, but this particular artist, he is from some other band, which, sorry, being a little lazy, and I should take the time to look it up, but Yes and No, and K-N-O-W. It's very textured and nuanced, and there's something about it. It's like, ooh, you're deep, aren't you? And I haven't checked out the lyrics. It's like, I feel like I need to, like, take some time, breathe, and sit down with it. That's what this song was giving off, if that makes sense. Nah, It Ain't the Same by Green Tea Peng. That's G-R-E-E-N-T-E-A, Peng, P-E-N-G. It has like a very like funk, neo soul. It's very vibey. It's a good song. I think it's new. Galatea's Guitar by Gabor Szabo. Very beautiful, very dreamy and romantic and haunting. It's beautiful. Very beautiful guitar CD or track, song, lyric album. Alright, I'm gonna stop talking. Skin It Back, Little Feet. Funk and Groove. That's all I can say. Funk and Groove, Little Feet. Skin It Back. Madeline by Anderson East. Sexy. That's what comes to mind. It's kind of a sexy song. It's like, and I know this might sound problematic, but it's sort of like it's white boy sexy, if that makes sense. And I know, if you feel me, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know where I'm coming from with it. And it's no shade, but that's what it is. Eyes Without a Face, Billy Idol. I just love the bass line. And I know it's not a new song, but yeah, it's just, that song has just been one of my favorites. White Wedding is like, ugh, it's so overplayed. But Eyes Without a Face, I've always liked it because it's kind of like, it's just raw, and it's haunting, and it's edgy, and it has that bass line, and it's driving, and it's a song. That song, if it were sung to me by Billy Idol, well, maybe Billy Idol then, I don't know about now, it's like, yeah, I could see having sex with you. Yes, I will throw my panties on the stage and other underwears. Dark Star, Crosby, Stills and Nash. You know what? If you know the song, you know why I picked it. It has I love the sound. I love that sound. It's just, yeah, it has like a nice groove to it. But it just, something about it. And the harmonies, it's the harmonies. That's what does it. Yeah. Skeletons by Easy Life. This is very summer groove to me. I believe it's a relatively new song, and the group is based out of England. I don't know if they're like one of the Liverpool or Manchester, but yeah, a bunch of English dudes, and it's a very cool song. I don't know, I like it. Do You Want a Funk? Patrick Cowley featuring Sylvester. That, I know that was in some movie somewhere, and I just can't remember what movie it was in. Was it Trading Places? Yeah, I think it might have been Trading Places. I don't know, I feel like it was some Eddie Murphy movie, and like that played. Also, just the song itself, it's like, I don't know, it's that disco vibe, and which I guess has led me into a movie that I am in the middle of watching, which is about fashion and these designers. I think it was like 5 American and 5 French designers who went head to head in the Thunderdome, also known as Versailles. So I don't know, I've just been like on that like 70s like glamour, just music, culture, fashion, just artistic expression, experimentation vibe. So do you want a funk? Just kind of fit it. So with that, I'm going to release you to the Kraken. So I'm going to head on out. I'm going to bounce, and that's what I have to share for this week. And next week, maybe I'll touch on a little bit more of the my Aretha story. Or at least, I shouldn't say my Aretha story, but just that my story around Aretha songs. Was there anything else that I need to go back and touch on? Told you about that, the Harvest Moon, told you about Aretha, but maybe I'll tell you more of it next week. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna stop babbling, gonna end it here and say thanks, and check out the YouTube channel if you wanna see more clips, and just check out the past podcasts, and you know, just be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. I feel like people are losing that with more things reopening. So let's let's maintain some of that kumbaya feeling that we had during the lockdown. There's no reason why it should go away. And yes, traffic is getting worse and worse. I don't understand why. I don't get it. But yeah, let's just try to have some patience with people. And if you don't need to be on the road, you don't need to be on the road. Don't go. Don't clog up the streets and the freeways unnecessarily. So stay home if you don't need to go out. You don't go out just for the sake of going out. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna take my cranky old ways on home. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with Mari's Bold Allen and me, and enjoy, and ciao, and bye.